The Solo Show is brought to you, as always, by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney in the greater Orlando area with CelebratingFlorida.com and DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com. Coming up on The Solo Show.
In the immunity challenge, when all three of them started and they all jumped off approximately at the same time, that's when I said to myself, oh, when these three are about to go head to head. Like the way they angled it, the camera made me think, oh, this is foreshadowing a little bit.
Stan and Dan talk about this week's episode of Survivor. Episode 4, Don't Touch the Oven. Pretty much always good advice. And just a heads up, we go right into spoilers, so if you haven't seen this week's episode of Survivor, why not? I mean, why not?
I'm Realtor Victor Naraki, and I specialize in living near Disney World. I work directly with you. I'm not a referral agent. A referral agent takes your name, takes your number, and then sells you to a random agent for a stake in that commission. When you call me, you get me. And I am there for you from the initial consultation through to closing and all the steps in between. You get me. Now, if you want to reach me, visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com for all my links. And you will get me.
And when you do get Victor, tell him the Solo Show sent you. Okay, it's Ken the voiceover guy, and we're still here on the island, but Dan and Stan are resting in the background because they've had a really busy week. So we're just going to keep it down, and we're just going to say, sound the horn. Is that a little over the top?
Thousands apply, but only 18 are chosen to be abandoned in Fiji for the adventure of a lifetime. Who will have what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast all the rest? Survivor 46.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and joining me today, as usual, with our Survivor episodes is Dan Hansen from the state of New York, where the Islanders are playing against the Jets this morning. How are you today, Dan?
I feel like you should just say, come on in, or something like that, you know, like one of Jeff's
Yeah.
names.
Remember he changed it? Did you see? Remember he used to say, come on in, guys?
Come on in, guys. Now it's only come on in.
Yeah, because they said, we're not all guys here.
Yep.
So we're talking Survivor Episode 4, Don't Touch the Oven, with an original air date of March 20th, 2024 on CBS, 1.5 hours long. And if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert, we're going right into spoilers. So you might want to pause it and watch it unless you don't care about spoilers, or maybe you watched it. So Dan, what did you think about this one overall?
You know, sometimes it's refreshing when there's no like editing nonsense and they just get right down to the point. We knew what was going to happen. Listen, I said it on the show last week that he's gone, you know, like there's no saving him. And I think most fans realize that, most viewers realize that. And the fact that there wasn't even a tribal council and, you know, they just went right into it. Sometimes it's refreshing because you don't always want to see an over-edited show every single week. So I like that.
I think this is only the second time they've done that, where they didn't bother with tribal council because everybody knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, and did you notice Jeff hugged him, which that doesn't happen, you know, at the
I
end.
Didn't catch that.
Yeah, after he put out his torch, he gave him a hug. And I was like, wow.
Do you think we'll see Bennu in a future season?
You know, I did think about that at the end of the game, at the end of the episode, because I think he's a likable guy. He had a really good story. I was really happy the way they put his story out.
Yeah.
At the end there. And I did think, could he play again? My fear is that he was such a bad player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was just in the wrong circumstances or if he's just really that bad. And I think most viewers would think, no, he's just really that bad. I think if they brought him back, they'd have to do a lot of prepping beforehand and interviews.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of his alibi there, he says he was a super fan.
Yeah.
Like, are you? Are you sure? Have you seen the show before?
There's a lot of
every episode, every season, people say I gotta lie and I don't like to, but you know, my kids are watching at home and I'm lying. So kids, don't do this, but unless it's for $1 million. Like,
right, exactly.
You know, exactly. Did he win 1 million hearts?
That
was his goal.
I don't want to be mean here, I think people like him, but at the end of the day, is he going to become like this memorable Survivor player? I don't think so. I think he's going to just get lost in the shuffle. It was a good first couple episode story arc, but I guarantee you, in 5 weeks from now, when we've done 5 more of these episodes, I don't think we're even going to remember him, to be honest.
Well, we won't be talking about him, but I think we'll remember him. I think he's a very memorable character.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into the play-by-play. We start off with the purple team, the Banu's team, celebrating that they didn't have to go to tribal council. It basically continued exactly where they ended off, is where they started this week, because of what happened last week. And then Banu comes clean that he told the other 2 tribes everything when they went on that little voyage. Again, he has no clue how to play the game. He didn't have to lie. He just had to not tell them that he did that.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. My favorite line, I think, was Kenzie says, "Why is he even out here? He could have just gone camping." And he probably would have had a better time camping than being on Survivor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was my favorite line of the whole show. So they get tree mail, and it's going to be a reward challenge. Then we cut to the Yellow Tribe. They get their tree mail, and they sing a song about it. The Yellow Tribe is having a party. Like, they're just enjoying this.
They're a very good tribe. I've been saying it from the beginning. They are a very good tribe, and those 5 can really go a long way if listen, there's luck involved in Survivor. There's going to be swaps, and we'll see what happens with that. But if they could somehow manage to stick together, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, for sure. And that Hunter, oh my gosh, I think he's going to be one of the top. I can hardly wait till we get to the individual challenges.
When they did that immunity challenge and he did that swimming part with such ease, it was like, oh my goodness. Or the part where who was in the sit-out bench? I forget who was on the sit-out bench, but they said, "Oh, once Hunter gets those balls, this is over." Like he was saying it before, and sure enough,
Then we cut over to the Green Tribe. They get their tree mail that there's going to be a reward challenge. Jem, who found the Beware advantage, took the note that she had and hid it. And so they're all digging, trying to find this underneath this tree where they found this advantage. Is that a good strategy to piss off all your teammates?
As long as she can keep going with it, right? Like my fear sometimes is that eventually it leaks out, and like the coming attractions, you see that it starts. At least she's questioned, or at least I'm sure everyone's being questioned because they all should know eventually.
They're all pointing fingers at everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. As long as she doesn't get caught, I think it's a good strategy.
I don't know. She's causing turmoil in the tribe instead of, you know what I mean?
It can't always be kumbaya all the time. There has to be something going on.
I guess so. So we get to the reward challenge, and the Green Tribe finds out for the first time that Raiden left for medical reasons, and the look on their faces when they saw the Yellow Tribe lose missing a player, and Purple, he still has everybody.
One of my favorite parts of Survivor, actually the part of Survivor that I always rewind the most is the look on their faces every time, not just this week. Every time you see like a big shock, we're like, because it is like a real shocking moment to see, and they're probably, the anticipation is probably killing them back at camp. Who left? You know,
I bet you Banu's gone. Gone.
Exactly.
And then the Purple Tribe comes in, Banu's there, and everyone else is there. And what's going on here? And the Yellow Tribe walks in.
Oh, I loved it. That was so good.
Yeah. So the reward challenge, we start off in the water in the boats. They have to get a key by untying these strings on these small buoys. Tim, he jumps onto that raft and it immediately flips over upside down. He's trying to straighten it up again, and it flipped over like 3 times that they showed us.
And did you see the second challenge? He jumped on the platform, and he almost fell again. I'm like, oh my, this guy has no balance on the water.
Oh my gosh. So then the Yellow Tribe, they hit the beach first, with the Purple Tribe in second. We don't see that too often. So now each member has to throw a ring up a pole. They have these big, huge rings around the pole. And it wasn't one person can do it. Every single person had to do it. And I love that. Love it. Yeah, that they didn't have
totally.
Because Hunter would have got all four tries. Yeah.
Yep. And the only thing I would say is that I wish it would have to be when they had to put them back on the poles. They didn't all have to do it then. No. Only Hunter did it.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that they would have had to do it both ways.
Yeah. And for the first time, Jeff says it, the purple team's in the lead for the first time ever. So then they have to dig under a log, and all the members have to go under the log. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
And then after that, like you said, they got to toss the rings back on to the onto the pole, a different pole, but same basically the same type of pole.
Right.
And Purple Tribe wins. I think it was Q that was throwing, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, and he beat Hunter in tossing, but they got that head start though. They had a little bit of a head start. And Yellow team comes in second. Hunter tossed all the rings. So this got me thinking. I can hardly wait for Q and Hunter to go head to head, and even Tim. In individual challenges.
In the immunity challenge, when all three of them started and they all jumped off approximately at the same time, that's when I said to myself, when these three are about to go head to head. Like the way they angled it, the camera made me think, this is foreshadowing a little bit,
Yeah. I mean, Tim's not as good of a swimmer.
Right.
So that was a disadvantage for him in that particular challenge. But I think it's going to be amazing if these three make it to the merge.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's going to be epic. So the reward was some fish. But the Purple Tribe was given the option to take, I don't think they've ever done that before, a previous reward if they wanted.
I vaguely remember that rule being explained years ago.
Okay.
And it just usually doesn't happen because usually the tribes are pretty more even than they are this year, where a team's not just getting annihilated. And we're 9 days in now without them having a flint.
Yeah.
So, and the way Jeff said it was like viewers, you should remember this from season 18,
Yeah. But yeah, so it was smart. They don't have fire. What are they going to do with fish? Have sushi?
Yeah.
And why wasn't Flint included in that? It was their first win.
Yeah, I think. It's only immunity.
I guess
it's only immunity is Flint. So but even before the challenge, or before Jeff explained that, they shot to Q where he said we're gonna have to trade up. Like he said it
I missed
where
that.
the camera heard it. So they were kind of like planting the seeds a little bit so that we all understood what was about to happen.
Yeah. So the Purple Tribe takes the tarpon fishing gear instead of taking the 10 fish, which I think that was a smart move. Yeah, you?
Yeah, definitely. They have to listen. They have no fire. They're probably so cold. They need to stay dry. That was the right move.
And it's that old, I'm surprised nobody said it on the show. You can give a man to fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The old tribe gets back, and their fish is waiting for them. They're having a party. They're just having a wonderful time. Like it is crazy. And then is it Tevan? Tevan, he wants to go Tevin.
Yeah,
so he wants to go cut and clean the fish because his dad taught him how many years ago. And I haven't done a lot of fish cleaning, but I could do a better job than that. That's not how you do it. Like he still had the scales on, he still had the tail on.
Yeah, I did see the tails. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making fillets, you cut the head and off, you clean out all the guts and everything, and then you just go along the backbone and you go along the skin. Like I've done it a few times, and I'm pretty good at it. But I mean, he didn't have the proper knife; he had a machete instead of a proper filleting knife. But it was just irking me to see him do such a bad job.
Next time you fillet a fish, I want you to only use a machete instead.
Yeah,
get back.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Well. And then back at the Purple Tribe, Q talks to Banu on how to play the game. He starts coaching him. He says, and it's basically keep your mouth shut during tribal, is what he tells him.
Well, my favorite part of that scene is when he's like, all right, just keep your mouth shut. Now, what do you think about voting out Tiffany? And Banu's like, let's do it.
Yeah,
he's like, no.
He said, no, you're too quick. You got to think about it a bit. Which is a great coaching skill for anybody that's going to go on Survivor. If they say, what do you think of voting somebody off? Pause for a second, think about it. Are they asking you because they're setting you up, or are they asking you because they really want you to do that?
Yeah. I was thinking in the back of my mind, Q I think is a coach, right? Like that's what his title, his occupation is. I say to myself, Q's going to go into business, like charging future survivors, for his like coaching styles,
Yeah. And then Kenzie apparently snapped at Banu. I didn't think she snapped at him.
Please, if that was a snap, I've snapped at like 6 people already this morning, and it's only 9 o'clock. Please.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get it. She was all feeling bad. Banu was, I'm going to go for a walk now. I'm just going to leave. He walks away, which was smart, I guess. If there's tension for him in that situation, just walk away. We go back to the Green Tribe. They're still digging for that reward. That's not there. And they love it. So they dig, to what's the opposite of Fiji? I don't know, Vancouver. When you were kids, you're going to dig all the way to China.
Yeah.
Well, he's digging to Vancouver. But anyways, hey, people I don't know, I'm just guessing. It's Vancouver. It's on the opposite end of Fiji.
Someone look at the globe.
Yeah, someone grab a globe and check it out for me. But yeah, so then now the fingers start pointing. Did you do it? Did you do it? You did it. And I don't know if Jim's enough of a professional to keep it quiet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't even have a feeling one way or another. I think it could go either way. They're making a big deal of it.
I think we'll find out next week if they figure out who did.
And they made a big deal of it. Usually when stuff like that doesn't come to a head in some way, shape, or form, it'll just be edited out, right? Like they won't even show it. So the fact that they're showing it leads me to believe that something's going to come of it. And one of two things is that something. Either she's going to get caught, and it's going to be a big deal, or she's going to go further in the game, and that'll be a way where we could edit it to say, hey, she's a good player. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think she's going to get caught. So then back at the Yellow Tribe, Soda's playing a hard game, Social Butterfly. Devin's trying to print a target on Soda's back. And I think that was more for us to see that.
Something, right. Some drama has to start happening, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
At this point, we don't know which tribe's going up for tribal council.
Right.
At this point. So I think that was more like, maybe Soda's going to go home. Maybe Banu's going to go home, for us to keep watching the show instead of going, well, Banu's done, turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I'm the Yellow Tribe, they're so successful right now based on their strength. And they just lost Raiden last week, right?
Yeah.
So they lost strength, but they still are a strong tribe. And they got to know that that's what's pushing them along. So I would think that out of the five of them, Soda's probably the weakest. Maybe Venus, but I would say it's probably Soda. So, add the part that she's a little bit too much of a social butterfly on top of it. It seems logical to me that she should be on the chopping block.
Yeah. So then they get the tree mail. All three tribes get their tree mail for the immunity challenge. And those scenes of how Maria can't jump. I mean, I am a horrible jumper. I used to do
really.
Good. Yeah, I used to do good in triple jump, but I think I'm better than that. Like, what's she getting off the ground like 1 inch?
Oh my goodness! That was so funny, and I didn't really understand when she was doing the confessional and she said, "Oh, my friends back home said, oh, eventually you're gonna have to tell people." In my head, I'm like, "Tell what? Like, what do you mean you can't jump?" I didn't understand it, right?
Yeah.
And then they flip to the scene, and they're like, "Oh, like she literally doesn't know how to jump."
She doesn't know how to jump.
Which, by the way, I said last episode when we were together that my favorite line was Ben when he referenced should be an Oasis song or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say my favorite line from this one is when he referenced Van Halen saying Van Halen wouldn't be proud of her jumps.
Yeah. That's your line of the week.
I loved it. I'm really starting to like Ben, just like his personality,
Yeah, sure. So we get to the immunity challenge, and once again, immunity's back up for grabs, and so they have to climb a ladder, jump off the ladder, climb up some crates, jump off that. Then two players dive underwater to release a bag of boyus. The one player has to throw the boyus in the net. Is basically what it is, right?
Yep.
Hunter, Tim, and Q, again, they go first. I guess I should say they started off in the water and they end up on the beach.
Yep.
Yeah, Hunter, Q, and Tim go first. And Hunter was way ahead. It wasn't even close. And that's what got me thinking, man, again, I can hardly wait for these three to go head to head. And Banu, again, he didn't go up the crates.
He can't even follow instructions correctly. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah. They would have probably won if it wasn't for that because it was close.
Yep.
Like he jumped off the platform, had to swim back, climb up again, climb up the crates, jump off. That took a lot of time. So then the purple and yellow tribe, they get to the platform at the same time. Q is shooting for the purple team, Hunter shooting for the yellow team, and I think Hunter went 3 for 3. It wasn't even. But it was close though because Tim had only one more basket to get.
Yeah. But again, it comes down to how smart Hunter is at at these challenges because, you know, Tim, you could tell he's like a basketball player, the way he had that like arcing, like shot, overhand shot. Hunter goes, and we all know Hunter's a big, strong guy. And what does he do? He goes underhand because he knows he's going to have more control that way. And I'm like, you know, this is brilliant. Like, he's so smart that he like thinks this way, you know?
Yeah. So Purple Tribe loses again. They don't get their flint again. They're going back to Tribal Council again. I don't know what to say about them. I mean, they get back to camp and it looks like it's going to be Banu, and we already said it. Do you feel sad for Banu? Like, was he treated fairly? Like, I mean, he was put on a bad tribe, I guess. He was his own worst enemy.
I know. I don't feel bad for him. I just think he played a poor game, and he probably doesn't have the right wherewithal to be on Survivor. But I don't think they treated him that poorly. You know, like we said before, Kenzie didn't snap at him. She was just, listen, you're living together on this island. You know, when who was it? It was Tiffany. He like got down like on his knees, and she's like, "Get up, like stop, just get up."
Yeah, when he was praying, begging,
yeah, like, you know. So he did things like that to like irk people, and like, you know, it's very frustrating when I'm sure every listener listening to this has had a person in their life that has acted like that at some point, where it's like, I can't be responsible for you and myself at the same time.
Right.
So,
and I mean, like, and they're trying to coach him. I mean, Kenzie tried coaching him. Q tried coaching him.
Yep.
So it wasn't like as if they were just throwing him to the dogs.
Yep.
You know, so Banu's wandering around looking for an idol. Oh, woe is me. Has no vote, has no idol, has no hope. Then he even goes and asks Kenzie, "Can you help me find an idol? You know, can you come with me and find an idol for me?" Like, he's trying like everything. You know, he's basically a dead man walking. How many stages of emotions did Banu go through in the last 5 minutes of the show while they were on there? He had fear, he had anger, he had hatred, he had begging. He had, you know.
Yep, he had it all. You know, and he's a very emotional person, as we have found out through the first 4 episodes.
Yeah. So we go to Tribal Council, and they didn't even have a tribal. Like, there was no voting. They saved some parchment paper in this episode. And Banu tells a story about living in poverty in India.
Right.
And living in poverty in India is different than living in poverty in North America.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend that went to India, and he went to like a food shelter type of thing, and he says it was like the size of a football field, and everybody just goes in and they sit down on the grass, and somebody comes by and gives them each a plate as they come by, and then somebody else would come by. Literally, it was a handful of rice with their hand. They gave them a handful of rice, and they went by. The next person came by and gave them a handful of like some mystery meat. He said, "I don't know what we were eating." He says, wow. But and then you just eat off that plate. And then you take your plate and you bring it in and they wash it or whatever and use it for the next day or whatever. But yeah, he says it was unbelievable. He was telling me.
Wow.
Yeah, and like Banu says, like how we're living back at camp is how I lived, with a dirt floor and thatched roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the end, Jeff just calls it, and that's, you know, it was sad. I felt bad for him, but that's how it is, you know. Any final thoughts on this episode before we go into next week?
Listen, I think it's a common theme going on with the Yellow Tribe, really a strong tribe, but the Green Tribe still has the numbers, so we'll see what happens. I mean, there has to be a merge coming soon. It's not coming next week because they would have promoted that, I think. But you know, we'll see what happens.
Give us the heads up that there's going to be a merge. So right.
Yeah, I mean, can we get down to 2 people on the Yanu tribe? Let's see what happens there, right?
Yeah. Anyways, it's that time there, Dan.
Next time on Survivor.
All right, next time on Survivor. So last week you said the yellow team would win again, and you said the green team would lose. So you're partially right. The yellow team won again. I picked the yellow team to lose, so I was way off. They came in first. Not much revealed in the next time on Survivor. Basically, everybody looking for an advantage in the green tribe and pointing fingers at each other. That's basically all that they really showed us. And the other thing too is, do you think Jem will? They'll find out that it was Jem, and we kind of answered that. So you're going to go one way or the other. I got a feeling. This is my prediction: is that the Green Tribe is going to lose next week, and either Jem is going to use her immunity dialogue, and then they'll know for sure that she's the one that did it, or they're going to figure it out. That's my prediction. I think the Green Tribe is going to lose immunity next week. What's your prediction?
My prediction. You know what? Why don't I just stay the course? I'm going to say yellow team wins again and the purple team loses.
Okay.
And we go into the merge with Q and Tiffany. Well, Kenzie gets voted out and Q and Tiffany get split up, put into one tribe each. That's how we're going to do it.
Ooh, interesting. All that in one episode. Very good, very good. All righty. And with that, we're going to end this episode. We'll see you all next week for episode 5. Green Tribe is going to lose. Dan says Purple Tribe. We'll find out. Ken, Tribe has spoken.
If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. Like the show and give it a thumbs up on YouTube and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Add a positive review on Apple Podcasts and that will help us grow the channel. All logos, sounds, and music that are made by and for Survivor are owned solely by CBS Productions, Survivor Productions LLC, CBS Studios, Castaway Television, and Mark Burnett Productions, and are not, nor are they intended to be owned by The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.